Hello Year 6 and welcome to Monday's literacy lesson. Hope that you've had a lovely weekend and that you are all rested, ready for a week of learning again. Okay, really impressed with all of your work from last week. Layla, you did a brilliant job of your inference questions and everybody has done such a good job. I'm so impressed. Okay, so today, as it's Monday, we're going to have a quick look at our spellings together. They will be on Edshed and Letter Join. Just a quick reminder, some of our spellings are a little bit long to go on Letter Join. So just do your best with the ones that you've got and then have a practice of the other ones in your best handwriting in your purple book. Okay, so that's why they're not all on Letter Join because some of them don't fit. Okay, so this week then, we're going to be looking at adverbs. Okay, so remember adverbs describe a verb. They are often adjectives with an ly on the end. They don't always have ly on, but the ones that we are looking at this week are ly words. Okay, so we'll just go through them quickly. So you've got apparently. Okay, so apparently means where you have heard something, but you might not exactly know that it's the definite truth. Okay, so you might have a sentence like, apparently we are going to play on the Key Stage 1 playground. You don't know that for a fact, but it's something you've perhaps heard. Okay, so awkwardly. So we know what awkward means. Okay, so awkward means you're a bit uncomfortable about something. So you might enter awkwardly, so you're a little bit uncomfortable. Okay, so consciously. So conscious is when you're awake, you're aware, you know your surroundings, you know what's going on. So consciously, so you might make a decision consciously. So you made a decision that you are aware of, you know what's going on. Frequently is often, so when something's often. And immediately is when it's happening right now. So I would like you to come to me immediately. Leisurely is more at your own pace. So they walked at a leisurely pace. They walked along leisurely. You might go on a lovely walk and do that at a leisurely pace, so at your own pace. Then you've got necessarily. So when something's a necessity, it has to happen. So you might say something like not necessarily. So not, it doesn't have to happen. Okay, thoroughly. So I've used thoroughly when I've been replying to lots of you. That means that you've looked at something thoroughly, you've looked at it properly, you've looked at it in detail. Sufficiently. So sufficient is when you've got enough of something. So sufficiently, you might say something like they have sufficiently completed the work. So that means you've done enough. Then physically, so physical means all about our bodies and about moving. So you might say somebody is physically fit. So they are fit and well. So they are your spellings for this week. As I said, they are on Edshed and Letter Join. So your little starter for today is to let me know how you've practiced them. So you could send me a picture of your Edshed or your Letter Join, or you could do 3 in a line in your book with somebody at home, or play hangman a couple of times with somebody at home, and send me a picture of what you've been doing to practice your spellings today. Okay, so you can pause the video now and have a little go at your spellings, and then we will move on to our comprehension. Right, so I'm sure you've had a really good go at your spellings for today. So our comprehension today is a new comprehension. So we are back to retrieval questions. It starts on page 33. So remember, you've got quite a bit of text to read. Remember, our pages fold out and it's to 37. So it's, again, just the fact retrieval questions that we are looking at today. Okay? So our text then for the next few days is The Real Blackbeard. So it's about a pirate. So have a really good read of the text. Now, last week when we started a text, I picked out some vocabulary that I thought you might want to look up. Now, this week, I am just going to say to you that I would like you to pick out some words. So go through the text really carefully. If you've got a highlighter at home, use that, or a crayon or a pen. Underline the words that you think, I'm not sure what that means. You might want to use some of the word meaning strategies that we've been discussing to work it out, and then have a look at it in the dictionary and see how does it work in that sentence? How is that word being used in that sentence? So make sure in your head it makes sense. Okay, so this week I'm giving you the challenge of choosing your own words as you go through, looking them up, having a think what they mean in the sentence. You might want to, after you've had a read, give yourself a little break because that's quite a lot. To have a read, pick out the vocabulary and then look it up. So have a good read, and then you might want to give yourself a little break. Okay? So then, when you've had a look at your vocabulary, so have a read, have a look at your vocabulary. So you can pause the video now and do that. Okay, so hopefully you have really enjoyed learning about Blackbeard the pirate. I'd heard of him before, but I didn't really know a lot about him until I read that text. So your retrieval questions today. Now, lots of them I know that you will be absolutely fine with. So I just want to go through a couple of strategies with the types of questions in there, because some require a little bit more detail. So I've got one here. So I've got write down 2 items. Now the reason that I've chosen this one is because it asks specifically for 2. Now often you think, oh, I know where that bit is in the text. I'll just jot down as many as it says. Now it's really important that when you've been asked for a certain amount of something, you only give that. Like when we tick 1 box. So if you've just been asked to give 2, that's showing your reading skills of going in and retrieving 2. So selecting 2. So it's really important that we go to the text, find where it talks about it, but only pick out 2, even if there is more. So I've got, write down 2 items that have been recovered from the wreck of Blackbeard's ship. Now, as always, I've highlighted really important words. So I've 2. So straight away, that's really important, and only to find 2. Then these words that I've highlighted, recovered, wreck, and Blackbeard's ship, are words that I think are going to help me when I skim and scan to find the part of the text that I'm looking for. Okay? So I'm going to go back to the text. So I'm looking for, and I've already forgotten, so I'm going to go back to the question. Remember, that's really, really important. You can't remember everything in your head. So the questions are still there, no one's taking them away, and so is the text. So use both of those things together. So I've already forgotten what I'm looking for, so I'm going to go back to the question. Right, I'm looking for recovered, wreck, and Blackbeard's ship. So I'm going to the text now. Looking for the wreck of Blackbeard's ship. Oh, there we go. So I've found where it says a wreck. Okay. So since then, believe that a number of cannons, anchors, and other objects have been recovered. So I'm going to choose, and I might even underline that so I know exactly what I'm looking for. Cannons, anchors. Okay, so I'm only going to write those 2 things down because it only asked for 2. Now I'll go back to my question. I'm going to write those things down. So I've got cannons and I've got anchors. And I've only got, so back to the question to check I've answered it, 2 items. I've only got 2, cannons and anchors. Okay, you might even want to number them so you know you've answered the question exactly as it asked. Okay, so that's one top tip for today. The second one I want to look at is where you are asked for a little bit more detail from a retrieval question. Okay, because you'll see this quite a lot of times. So I've got what happened at Charleston Harbour. Explain your answer fully. So that means it wants you to give detail. So this might be a 2-mark or a 3-mark question. So remember, the rule of thumb, 2 marks you need 2 points, 3 marks you need 3 points. So really take care to look what that's asked for in your question. Now, as always, so what happened? So I'm looking for an event, something that happened. It's really important that you look at those question words. What happened? So I'm not looking for why, I'm not looking for how, I'm looking simply for what happened. And then I've highlighted Charleston Harbour because that's the bit I'm going to be skimming and scanning for. Okay, so that's going to be the bit that tells me what happened. So I'm going to go back to my text. So I'm looking for what happened at Charleston Harbour. So back to my text, and I'm looking for Charleston Harbour. So here it is. So there's Charleston Harbour. Now, you have read the text, but I would always, I've been asked specifically what happened. I'm going to read that paragraph again, okay? So what happened at Charleston Harbour? Okay, so I'm going to read that. And it says that Blackbeard and his crew seized any ship attempting to enter or leave the port and took the passengers and crew of one ship prisoner. So I need to put that now into my own words. And it might mean that I need to go back from the text to my book, from the text to my book, because I can't remember all of that. And that's fine. That's why you have the text in front of you. Okay, so I'm going to go back. I'm going to Blackbeard and his crew seized any ship in the port. I don't have to write it exactly as it says in the text. And I'm going to add some extra detail because it's asked me to explain my answer fully. Okay, so that's not the only thing that they did. They also took some prisoners. So I'm going to put they also took passengers and crew as prisoners. Okay, so that's my answer. I've explained exactly what happened. I've put 2 points to make sure that I've been really clear and that I know I've explained it fully. Okay, so Blackbeard and his crew seized any ship in the port. That's 1 point. They also took passengers and crew as prisoners. That's 2 points. Okay, so I've made sure that I've explained it fully, right? So you've got you've got a couple of questions like that. Okay, so make sure you explain it fully. Okay, so I'm going to give you another one, a little bit like that, but instead of a what, a how. Okay, so this one then, look at the paragraph beginning, and that's why I've highlighted this, sailing across the coast of America. Please make sure when it asks you to look at a paragraph, your answer comes from there, because that's what it's asking for. So then this one says, how did Blackbeard make his appearance frightening? Okay, so this is ways in which he made his appearance frightening. So explain your answer fully. So I need to make sure I've got a couple of points so I know I've explained it fully. So sailing across the coast of America is what I'm looking for. Okay? So have a look on that page. And I'm looking. So I know I'm looking. So it's here at the bottom. I know I'm looking for points about Blackbeard's appearance. Okay, so remember this is a how question. So not like the last one before was a what happened. This is how he makes his appearance frightening or scary. Okay, so it says what he wore. So pistols, which I know are guns, across his body. Thick black beard twisted into braids. Astonishingly, it is also said that he would tie burning fuses. So I know that fuses are like fire to the ends of the braids, creating plumes of black smoke around his face and giving an appearance of a demonic creature. Okay, so he's trying to make himself look scary, like a demon. Okay, so I need to make sure that I make that point. How does he make himself look scary? So again, I will need to keep looking at the text to help me answer the question. I can't remember all of that off the top of my head. So I've got that he tied fuses to his braids. Which gave him the appearance of a demon. So that's only 1 point, so I'm going to put something else. I'm going to put he also carried pistols on his body. Okay, so I've given 2 points. Okay, so now I need to go back and check that I've answered that it's how he shows that he's scary. Okay, so he tied fuses to his braids, which gave him the appearance of a demon. So demons are associated with being scary. He also carried pistols on his body. So I think I'd be a little bit scared if I saw someone coming at me with guns on their body. Okay, so I've explained my answer fully. So those ones will help you today. The other ones are lots of retrieval like we've done before. Okay, so I hope you enjoy reading about Blackbeard. So you can pause the video now and have a go at your reading comprehension for today. Right, so your word meaning for today then. Okay, so we are looking today at page 28 and it's all about creating like a mood and an atmosphere in a piece of writing. Now, we've done lots of this before, so I know that you're going to be really good at this. So I'm just going to go through it really quickly and give you an example at the end. So you've got, in the first bit here, you've got to read this little bit of text and how does it make you feel? So it's a feeling of like, has it made you feel scared? Has it made you feel happy? Has it made you feel sad? Okay, so think about how the writer has tried to make you feel in that piece of text. So verbs can be used for a mood and so can adjectives. So this one asks you here to find the verbs. Remember, verbs are something that somebody is doing. Okay, so it might be running, jumping, skipping, smiling, singing, any of those kind of verbs. So you've got to find all of those. Remember, they can often end in an ing or an ed. Okay, then what mood does the author create by using dramatic verbs? So here I can see they were free, running through the streets. Felt if they went any faster, if they skipped and danced. It's lots of movement, isn't it? Okay, so have a think about the effect there. Then you've got a text with lots of adjectives, so it's very descriptive here. So how would you describe the mood here? So you've got the lion's large dark eyes rested on the hazy horizon. Okay, it's stared out, heavy-limbed and satisfied across its vast, dusty homeland. So how does that one make you feel? So those ones are a little bit of reading and how do they make you feel? Okay? Then the next bit, you've got another one here, another little bit of text. What do you notice about the structure? Now, we've done text like this before, okay? So, was there anyone there? He couldn't hear a thing. He took 2 steps forward. If only he could hear something, anything. 2 more steps. Felt he was close now. 1 more step. So, think about the length of the sentences. Are they long? Are they short? What sort of punctuation is used in there? So, have a think about how the structure, so the length of the sentences and the punctuation that's used, gives you an idea of the mood or the atmosphere. Right. So then finally, you've got a little writing task today. So you've got a few ideas to get you started, but it says that normally a ghost story features a creepy house or something like that. And it asks you to think about something a bit different. So it gives you some examples. So it says like a zombie ringmaster in a circus. So it's a circus and maybe a zombie comes out instead. Don't like the idea about that. A doll factory with spiders in. Depends what makes you feel a little bit scared. Or a family of vampires that live in an old abandoned football ground. And you've got to use some of those strategies. So like verbs, adjectives, and maybe some short sentences, some rhetorical questions to build a little bit of tension, which we have done before. Okay, so what I've done to help you, I'm going to do a couple of sentences with you. As I've put some pictures here for you to pause and have a look at. So you've got here like an old abandoned sewer. You've got the clouds and something a figure here in this one. And then this one looks a bit to me like an old abandoned hospital or something. Okay, so you can have a look at those pictures. Move it a little bit closer so you can see. You can use the ideas in the book and think about something that's a little bit scary and try and use some words, some sentences to create a little bit of tension and atmosphere. What I've also done that you can pause is some tips to include. Now, we have done tension writing before, so I've put a bit of a checklist. So you've got short sentences, rhetorical questions, adjectives, verbs, weather. Remember, weather can really affect an atmosphere. So it might be thunder crashing or the wind howling. Empty words, so I put some empty words here. Phantom, shadow, figure, something, someone. Fronted adverbials, so in the distance, all of a sudden, without warning. All those kind of words might help you. So I'm going to do a couple of sentences. You also might want to use your similes, metaphors, and personification because that figurative language really contributes to it. So I'm going to just do a couple of sentences. Taking a deep breath. So that's a little bit of show, not tell, isn't it? Taking a deep breath. Door. Creak. It swung on the hinges. Was there anyone there? Okay. Wait. What was that? Okay, so I've got taking a deep breath. He pushed the door. Creak. It swung on the hinges. Was there anyone there? Short sentence. Wait. What was that? Okay, so have a really good think about trying to build some tension. We have done this before. You can go back, keep this paused to have a look at some of the things that you might want to include. You can look at the pictures and use the tips in the book as well. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. I absolutely love reading tension writing. I know how fantastic you were last time we did it in class. So it's just a little challenge for today. Okay, so enjoy your work today and I shall see you tomorrow.